G'day everyone, today we are taking a look at Ecoflow power stations. On the left the Delta and on the right the Delta Max. The Delta is a 1200 watt hour unit and the Delta Max is a 2000 watt hour unit. The Delta on the left has surge capacity up to 3300 watts or a constant load of 1800 watts total throughout the sockets that you can see on the screen now. The Delta Max, however, will get you up to 4,600 surge and 2,400 watts. 2,400 watts in this part of the world is the maximum you would have coming out of your wall at home. So basically this will run any appliance that you have. Now, as well as being able to take far bigger appliances and having bigger capacity, longer runtime, all that stuff, it also has a bunch of other features that the Delta does not have. The Delta Max has the power on the back here, whereas the Delta has it on the side. But also we have the solar input there. You can put a solar panel also into the Delta. The Delta doesn't have fast or slow charging. So this one will charge it up to 2000 watts, whereas the Delta is 1200 watts max. So even though this is a far bigger unit, it doesn't take that much longer to charge than the smaller Delta. You'll also see a difference down here. We have a couple of different plugs here, different sockets and a power point. And on the front, the Delta Max on the left has USB-C up to 100 watts of power, whereas the USB ports on the Delta are just basic chargers. They don't offer any large power capacity. As you can see at the top, USB-A, 2 standard ports, 2 fast charge ports, so that bit's basically the same. We also have another button here which I will get to shortly, because there is other features that the Delta Max has which make it much superior to the Delta. The first being that you can make this even bigger. It's already bigger than this, but you can also add one battery there and another battery there. You can extend this so that you've got 3 batteries, so you can basically run a small house on this. If you've got a tiny home you go to every now and then, you can take these with you, take your extra batteries, hook it up to a solar panel and be self-sufficient for power, because one of these can easily run a television, a fridge, a microwave and stuff all at the same time. And before we take a look at the cool feature this has that this one does not, let's have a look at some of the other stats. The Delta Max, whilst looking like the Delta, it is bigger in basically every dimension, and weight-wise you're looking at about 14 kgs for the one on the top and the Delta Max on the bottom around 21 kgs, so 50% heavier. But the Delta on the top, the fans kick in much earlier than the one on the bottom, I've noticed. When it comes to charging with a solar panel, which I'll show you shortly, the one on the top, the Delta, you can only put 400 watts into it at a time, whereas you can have up to 800 watts going into the bottom one to charge it. So that's twice as fast charging, although it is going to take a bit longer because it's a much bigger battery, obviously. Now these two units are 230 volts because I'm in New Zealand. This will of course work in Australia as well, but if you're in other parts of the world and you're looking at those plugs and you're thinking, that looks funny, well, take a look down in the description. There'll be other links, and maybe up in the top corner I'll put some links about the place. And I've already done a review of the top one, so if you want to see that, that'll be up here in the top corner. Ecoflow sent me that for free, and I must have done such a good job of the video because they've also sent me this one. And it's now starting to rain, so I'm going to have to change location. Right, much drier in here. I'm just charging up the battery for the camera that I'm using right now. Well, of course I've got a different battery in it right now, but yeah. And it takes about 2 hours to charge, and looking on the end here, we can charge for 54 hours at the current rate that this thing's charging at. So low actually that it's not even showing up in the output side of things. So 54 hours, so it could charge that about 27 times with 87% battery life. Anyway, now we're going to take a look at the accessories. So they come in a little box like this. Tip this stuff out. Kids, don't eat this. If you're an idiot, feel free to eat it. Got a charger here for a cigarette lighter in a car. So I didn't know what this one was called, but I've just looked it up in the manual. It's a DC5521 to a DC5525, of course. What else would it be? Got instructions here on how to hook it up to a solar panel, and of course the lead that I've already taken out to use to charge it, which is pretty standard sort of stuff, and the manual. Now this thing puts out 2400 watts constantly. Now that is the most you can have on a household circuit here in New Zealand. And so I'm going to go and find something that's 2400 watts, probably an electric jug or a heater, something like that, and we'll see if it can actually do it. The standard Ecoflow Delta that I reviewed last time only goes up to 1800 watts, and so it's no good for an electric jug or most heaters, because most heaters are 2000, 2400 watts here. You might get a 1600 watt sort of fan heater if you're lucky, which you could run on it, but it wouldn't run for very long. So we'll go boil a jug hopefully, and we'll see how much power that sucks out of this thing, if it can even do it. Now I'm a bit disappointed, being the huge coffee drinker and stuff that I am. I thought we had a glass, a clear glass electric jug, but turns out we've got a stainless steel one, so that's not going to be quite as interesting to look at. I thought, oh yeah, we've got a clear glass one, I'll fill it up with peas or something so that you can see it all bubbling and moving around. So this is going to be a bit like watching paint dry. Anyway, this is 2200 watts. That's the highest thing I could find without, you know, putting too much effort in. And it's something that has a start and a cut off, so it's a good thing to test. So I've got 1 litre of water in there, you can see in there. So we're going to test how long it takes, well not really how long, how much power this thing uses to do 1 litre, like how many minutes or hours or whatever we will get left after we've boiled this 1 litre. As you can see, 0 input, 0 output. The input will stay on 0, the output should go up to hopefully around 2200. We'll see if this kettle is rated to what it says, and we'll see how many minutes. It won't be hours, I don't think, it'll drop down to minutes. Well, definitely will drop down to minutes, and it'll be interesting to see how many percent we've got left, and then from that we can work out just how many litres of water we can boil, or you can work it out, and see if this is appropriate for your use. Let's go, eh? Let's flicker on. Straight up to 1940 watts, and we're down to 48 minutes. Straight away, in kicks the fans. It's a good demonstration of the fans. Help keep everything inside this thing cool. It's just like watching water boil inside a stainless jug. Or kettle if you prefer. We have a good amount of steam coming out of the kettle. Oh, you can't even see it on the screen. There we go, 81%. So about 6% battery life. So what's that? How many times could we boil 1 litre of water? How many litres could be boiled? Well, you'd get 10 to 60, and then it's like, what, carry the 1. So about 16, give or take. 16 litres of water, or 16 jug boils of 1 litre. So if you took this thing camping, that should keep you going for a few days, eh? If you're into such things. I personally don't drink hot drinks. Next up, time to show you something that the Delta does not do, and that is have its own app. That's right, you can control this thing with your phone and look up different details on your phone. As you can see, I haven't created my account yet. If you can hear it humming, it's this charger. I'm currently charging up this battery with the Ecoflow. It's not the Ecoflow unit itself, it's this that is humming. Hold it up to the microphone. Yeah, definitely that. First I thought it was Ecoflow, and I thought, what? My Delta never hummed. Surely the Delta Max doesn't hum, but yeah, it's this. Anywho, I'm going to go and create an account for this. I won't do it on the screen because you'll see my password and stuff, and then we'll come back and look and see what it does. Come back and look and see what it does. Come back and look and see what it does. Okay, I have signed up. As you can see, it didn't take too long. We're still on 79%. The fan, oh no, that's the fan on that too. Yeah, fan on the charger, not the Ecoflow. So it's running at 221 watts. Still hasn't kicked in the fan. Pretty sure the Delta would have kicked in by now. So it's nice that it doesn't run the fan as much as the Delta, because that was something that was a little bit annoying with the Delta. So I'm glad that this one doesn't need to do it as much. Anyway, I have signed up. We can now connect to this unit. Let's see how it works. Add device. Scanning for Bluetooth devices nearby. Now I don't know if I have to push anything on the Ecoflow, or whether it's just no Bluetooth device found. Let's go to add devices manually, or scroll down. What do we want? Smart generator, smart home panel, wave to portable power stations, Delta Max. Agree to all of that. Now push the button. Oh, long press until you hear it beep. Okay. Here we go. Right. We have the flashing Wi-Fi looking symbol here. Click that it's flashing, click next. Go to Wi-Fi settings, or just have to take it off film for a minute again. Oh no, that was all good. You click it, it's I think it's the Wi-Fi within this. It's like a local Wi-Fi. Connected, right. We're in. Now I'll have to do my Wi-Fi bit. Okay, I have entered my Wi-Fi details. Click done, next. Device linked to your account. Device connected to network successfully. Right, we're in. So we've got a bit more information on the app than you get on the screen. So we've got a temperature here, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll have to change that to Celsius if I can. Fahrenheit. 6 hours 38 left, which is a bit 39. That's running at the 227 watts. It'll give you that length of runtime, which is a bit more accurate than the 6 hours it says on the screen above. We've got the percentage capacity there. Output X boost. Now if you don't know what X boost is, that is, as far as I'm aware, if you've got a heap of things plugged into this and they are over the 2400 watts that this thing will do, instead of it like shitting out, it will run the highest things it can and cut off the other ones. So it stops your thing from overloading and you having to reset it and all your devices shutting down, and it will just run optimally the highest things you have plugged into this. That's what I think it does. So at the moment we've got 188 watts going into that charger. It's slowing down, so it must nearly be charged, and that's going through the AC. Then we've got the 12 volt output there, and then we've got the USBs at the bottom, and that's that. So you can see all the individual things and what they're all putting out, whereas on the screen of the unit you'll only get the total. Now looks like I've got a power button here. Oh, look at that, turned it off. So you can have this outside charging in your garage or something, or if you're camping and you forget to turn it off and you can't be bothered getting out of your sleeping bag, you can grab your phone and turn it on and off from your phone. So what I'm doing there is not actually turning the whole unit off, that was just turning off the AC port, which is that Ryobi charger at the moment. Didn't kick back in again because the charger now says the battery is charged. Turn it off right as it was fully charged. Dope. What else can we plug in? Turn it back off for a second. Look, I've just found another Ryobi battery that needs charging. This would have been super handy when I used to make tracks in the bush in the middle of nowhere and had to do everything with battery tools, or you'd have to have a generator, and carrying a generator into the bush is no fun. This is a lot lighter, much easier to chuck in a wheelbarrow with all your battery tools, and then if you need to you can charge things up or run electric tools straight off this, and nice and quiet as well, because you don't want to be in the bush where it's all nice and peaceful and there's birds and you've got a hideous bloody petrol generator. Anyway, let's turn on the charger again. Take a second to kick in. Here it comes, building up. There's a motorbike blast past. You can hear that hum starting again from the Ryobi charger. And there we go, so we're up to around 200 watts again. Let's plug in something to one of the USB ports, which are right behind here. I'll stick it on just a USB-A, plug my phone into it. Now we will turn on the USBs down here, turn off the 12 volt DC, don't need that one. And there we go, my phone is charging with this slow crappy cable at 2 watts, heaving along. So now the total output 201, 199 on the AC, 2 watts for the charger. This will probably go up a little bit now because the fan's just kicked in on the Ryobi. So how much does the fan use going up? Only a couple of watts. Right, is there anything else this app does? If we go into the settings at the top, you'll see you can rename your device, call it what you want, call it John if you wish. Device sharing, so that you can have other people being able to check up on this device as well. Charge and discharge limit, currently set at 0 and 100%. AC charge speed, fast 2000 watts. Car input, you can set the amps for that, beep on and off, blah de blah, generator, unit, timeout, screen timeout. Oh, that's quite good because it does cut out a bit too quick. 5 minutes and 30 minutes. You think they'd put a 10 or a 15 or something in there? 5 straight to 30. Let's go to 30. AC timeout. Firmware, looks like there might be an update there. That's good. Specifications. Unit temperature. That's what I need to change. Oh, currently not quite on screen. Unit temperature, Fahrenheit. Let's jazz that up. Put it on the real one. All done. Celsius, that's better. And then you can unlink it at the bottom. So those are all the features and stuff. That looks like that's it. If you go back to the main screen, you'll have all your devices there, presumably, if you have multiple devices. Yeah, so at a quick glance you can see how much capacity you have left. This is good if you use it as a power station in a tiny home, or it's in a workshop, or you're charging it in particular, if you're charging it by a solar panel or something, and it's perhaps somewhere where you're not there all the time and you only go there on the weekends and this thing is looking after the place. Well, then you need to know how much percentage you've got in case you need to go and charge it up or anything like that during the week. So very, very handy if you're using this thing all the time as a power source. Now, if you are using it all the time, if it's plugged into power and you have all your devices plugged into it, it won't use the battery. Basically, the power will come into this thing and then it'll go straight back out through your devices and you won't be degrading the batteries unnecessarily. But then if there is a power cut, or you disconnect it from the power source, then it will kick in within 30 milliseconds and then start charging your other devices or running your TV or your fridge or whatever it happens to be. But if you need it to be 0 milliseconds, if it's something like a data server, then yeah, this thing won't do it. But 30 milliseconds is pretty quick. I tested it last time on the Delta and it was quick enough that the TV flicked off but came straight back on again, sort of thing. But if you've got really sensitive equipment or information on equipment that can't handle any form of interruption, then these aren't quite good enough for that. Now it uses lithium-ion battery cells. This is a 50.4 volt battery. 50.4 volts. 2016 watt hours. What else do I need to tell you about it? Well, they do have solar panels, as of course you will have worked out from the way I've been talking throughout this thing. So you can plug a solar panel into this thing. Now the last couple of weeks it's been quite sunny here, but the week that I chose to film this, of course it is raining. Now I do have a solar panel. I'll put a shot of it up here from a previous video. Hopefully soon I will get this thing hooked up to the solar panel and I can do another little video update on that. These things are becoming super popular for camping and tiny homes and workshops where you're out of the way a bit. Say you've got a shipping container that doesn't have power and you work in that and you just want some lighting and something to charge your batteries up with for your power tools, then these things are awesome. And all you have to do is remember to take this backwards and forwards rather than all the batteries for your lights or your different power tools and stuff. You can just have them all sitting at work hooked up with a power board, and you just take this home when it needs to be charged, charge it up, bring it back the next day, and away you go. You're set to go. And you probably only need to do that every few days, because unless you're charging dozens of batteries, this thing will, as you can see, run for another 7 hours charging at this speed, which will charge, I don't know, at least another 4 36 volt 6 amp hour batteries, sort of thing. So you get quite a lot of charges out of one of these for small tool batteries. And because, as you can see, this charges only using 200 watts, you could effectively put 12 charges like that on this at any one time and it shouldn't overload it. I wouldn't push it quite that far, but 10 should be comfortable. Just plugging in a Makita charger, a dual charger. Let's see how much it uses, how much this changes. We're currently on what, 203? So about 4 watts is it, just to run the lights on the charger. And I'll now stick two 14.4 volt batteries on there and just see how much that changes. Wait for the fans and everything to kick in. Oh, one of them's already charged. There we go, that's more like it. 413-ish. Chuck another 18 volt on and see what happens. See how much more it uses. Went down. That's a bit odd. There we go. 490. Fluctuating a bit. 600, 500. It's all over the place. This charger is drawing all sorts of odd amounts, isn't it? It's one thing that's quite interesting about these. You get to see exactly what your tools are drawing, or your devices that you've got plugged in. Oh, 285. going up and down all over the place. So it's not a constant charge going through these things. Let's unplug the Ryobi just for a second. Fan's just stopped. Oh, that was the fan of the Ecoflow. We're down to, geez, fluctuating between 90 and 150 at the moment. So as you can see, the chargers don't use much. You could charge a heap of 18-volt batteries on this thing. I mean, it's saying, who knows how many hours? 11 hours, say. That seems to be the most common one. Say it's 10 hours to charge. These take about 45 minutes to charge, so you're gonna get a lot of them out of it. If you can charge 2 batteries in 45 minutes, and you've got 10 hours of charge, that's however many batteries that is. Let's say it's 2 an hour. You'll get 20 batteries, and that's at 75%. That one was almost charged as well. Anyway, if you divide it by the watt hours, this battery, for instance, 22 watt hours. This thing, 2016 watt hours. Now, of course, you're going to lose some power with the fans that are in this and the fans that are in this, but that's still a lot of charges. Still looking at about 80 of those. 80? Wow. Is that how it works? Complain about my maths down in the comment section. Okay, now this is don't be a dumb bastard time. I have plugged the charging lead into the back of this thing. I'm going to see if it can charge itself. What will happen? Will it shit itself? Oh, I've got to plug this in the back too, this, right? It's not on the side like the Delta. Will it have a heart attack? Let's see what happens. Yeah. Overload flashing on the screen here. Not happy at all. Unplug it. Instantly cleared it. That's nice. Let's now not be silly and plug it into the wall. That's something I surprisingly didn't try on the Delta. Well, let's see if I can reach it around here and plug it in. The old reach around, had to turn the light off, sorry. We're now charging, nice and quiet at the moment. And there's the fan starting up. Right, well, I guess I'll leave you to it and you can just watch that charge while I go off and make another video. The other Delta review will be up in the top corner. It's a much more in-depth review than this one. This, I just wanted to show some of the features that the other one doesn't have and tell you the specs and differences between the two models. They're both cool units. I've been using the Delta one quite a lot in my shed because it doesn't have power, so I can, as I say, charge batteries, run lights, that sort of thing off that. This one, charging much quicker. The other one only charges up to about 1200 watts input. This one should go to 1800, I think. Oh no, it goes to 2000 actually, that's right. So, significantly faster charging than the other one. 27 minutes to full charge from 75%, so that's not much more than 1% a minute, so that's pretty good. So from that you can work out that you'll have this thing fully charged from fully flat in less than 2 hours. Leveling off around the 1900 input, that changes depending on the percentage it's charged. Once it gets close to being charged, this will slow down. So when it's really low and they first start charging, it'll charge slowly as to not damage the batteries. In the middle of the percentage range, it will go full whack, and then once it gets close to being fully charged, it will slow down and just trickle charge it a bit towards the end till it's at that 100% mark. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, cheers for dropping by. Please consider hitting the like and shit. And if you're a regular, you'll probably see this in the background of a few more videos to come, and I'll talk about a few more of the other features as it goes along and give you updates on its performance. Also, if you want to know how many charges you get out of this thing, they say you should get over 800 charges with it still maintaining 80% or better charge. So it's not saying you'll get 800 only, it'll saying once you get to 800 charges, it may have dropped to about 80% capacity, which is pretty good. Oh, she's dropping down quick now. Like I said, doesn't charge at that full all the time. You can also get a generator for this now to top this up if you are in an off-grid location and you need to top this battery up via fossil fuels every now and again, where then you can get a generator that you hook up to this. Pretty nice clean little unit. And they also now do, I see, which would be pretty cool to try out, a couple of different air conditioning units. So like little aircon units, like about the size of this, maybe they're a bit bigger, I'm not sure. And they've got all the batteries and everything in them, I think. And maybe you hook this up to the unit, I'm not sure. But I think they're all self-contained, and a little aircon unit, which would be pretty cool. off-grid aircon. Maybe we'll try that one day in the future. Until then, links down below if you're interested in one of these things. I'll put some links down there to get them from Amazon and other places. Try and find a few different places around the world where you can buy them. So down there, they're cool little units, great Christmas present for somebody who is planning on building a tiny home or lives off-grid or goes out into the wilderness to do photography and things like that, because they're great for charging up all your batteries and using your laptop and all that sort of stuff. Okay, this is just a little demo to show you that the power that is going to this is not being used from the battery. So we're running at about 150 for this unit, and we've got 1350 coming into the unit while it's charging. If I turn off the charger at the back here, we drop straight down to 1200, showing that when you are drawing extra power from this thing when it's plugged into the wall, it will take it straight from the wall, not from the batteries, which is very good. Better life for your batteries, much quicker for charging up the unit as well. This is not charging and discharging at the same time. You've just got the power coming in, plug something into it, it diverts that power straight to the thing rather than charging the batteries, but keeps the power still charging at the same level. Very handy. Turn it back on. You'll see this one jump up when this one comes on. Just like that. Cheers for watching, guys, and I'll see you on another one soon. Tools out.